Hi, welcome along to another video where we delve into the YouTube chemtrail conspiracy. Now personally, I don't think it's right that YouTube should be trying to start a chemtrail conspiracy theory. Obviously, if they're really trying to promote that condensation trails are chemtrails consisting of chemical or biological agents left in the sky by high-flying aircraft, then, wow, we best look into this, shouldn't we? What is this chemtrail conspiracy theory? As mentioned in the comments of one of the videos, the word chemtrails has been around for quite a while. Shortened version of chemical trails. We all know this. Anyone who's ever looked at this subject knows this, that it's been around. Military term, short for chemical trails, because they've been around for a long time. People have a term for it. In the world of geoengineering, we know that it's termed as solar radiation management. It's not termed as chemtrails. So anyway, on with the YouTube chemtrail conspiracy. As you can see from the image, the first part of this video has already got one of their advertising boards of it on it. And yeah, what can you say? It's like a badge of honour nowadays, isn't it? Didn't take long, a day or two. So YouTube's algorithms are obviously working on the subject title. Well, I've deliberately put the words chemtrail in it to make sure that the board comes up. So first, back to 1995 in a movie called Cybertracker 2. Did you see it? Okay, let's do that one again then, just quickly. I'm sure you saw it, didn't you? Everybody who didn't see it, pay attention. Here we go again. There you go. So another one of YouTube's chemtrail conspiracy theory boards appears on the video made from 1965 that's authored by Ronald Reagan. If there is a chance, perchance, that you don't know who Ronald Reagan is, he's former US president and former governor of California. Whilst he was in California as the governor, he wrote a report to do with weather modification. I made a video about that report and a conspiracy theory that has been around in the mainstream since 2013, 2011 at the earliest, but 2013. That's the label YouTube is putting on these videos. This is the modern terminology of the chemtrails conspiracy. They're not talking about chemical trails, as in chemtrails that a military person would speak about. They're talking about chemtrails that a conspiracy theorist talks about. So YouTube are claiming that the information that Ronald Reagan is providing is part of a chemtrail conspiracy theory from the 2010s onwards. Now, it was written in 1965. I think that's really good to have 45 years foresight to be able to make a report that in 2020 gets labelled as part of a conspiracy theory. Now, there is a rumour going around about US presidents and conspiracy theories. A chemtrail conspiracy, though.
Is that it?
104. Yeah, that's the address. No, keep going.
Okay.
This is from Tom. He's in Sleaford. Something to annoy poor Hudson with. I think that chemtrails have been mentioned on the weather slot before, and Paul got a bit agitated. The very misguided chemtrail believers in Lincolnshire are holding an awareness day. These are the people that believe that persistent aircraft contrails are nothing to do with atmospheric conditions, but are actually spraying chemicals for so-called geoengineering.
Well, they're just crackpots, aren't they? I mean, that's a considered opinion as well.
Is that a considered opinion? Crackpots.
Crackpots.
Contrails.
Get them on. Why don't you get them on, Peter? You know, there's one keeps hounding me and sending me emails, but there's absolutely no scientific.
I think we've got better things to do here.
Well, no, I think it might be quite entertaining.
Do you? Chemtrails.
Why don't you go down there and do a feature for Look North?
Be very, very careful, young man. Very, very careful. Right, now you should be busy in the weather department. I've been hearing about tomorrow. You want to give us a forecast?
Well, I have to say, Peter, I mean, the snow is looking a little lighter and sort of...
BBC, Radio Lincolnshire. That was Peter Levy and his assistant Paul, the weatherman, speaking in January 2013 about an event I organised in Lincoln where we did some chemtrail awareness raising. So that's a good example of 2013. We all used to call it chemtrails. By 2015, most of us had worked out that that was all very well, but it was being used against us in the tabloids, etc., to just say that people who were saying that were crazy or conspiracy theorists. So by 2015, we had kind of adapted to calling this situation solar radiation management, SRM. That's the term scientists and experts give to the geoengineering technology, so we adapted and started calling it that. So YouTube are suggesting that Downing Street, London, would also be involved in this chemtrail conspiracy theory. So it doesn't just, it's not just Ronald Reagan, no, it's also the British government, the actual Prime Minister at Downing Street. If this was just a conspiracy, then Downing Street would never go through the procedures, the security procedures necessary to go into Downing Street and hand in a petition. A petition was handed in at Downing Street, following all the security procedures. Therefore, if it's all just a conspiracy, Downing Street, London, is also involved. Now, I'm sure you're as grateful as me for having that truth exposed to you, thankfully, by the organisation that is known as YouTube. By the way, I'm not picking on you, YouTube, I'm just making a point.
I divide things into thinking about the risks and the efficacy, and the risks I happen to have listed are for stratospheric sulfates, but there's lots of other technology. But the risks to me, in the way I'm thinking about it, are the things that are kind of the direct side effects of the way you do, the particular way you might do the radiative forcing. So if you put sulfate aerosols in the stratosphere, for example, some of them are going to rain down the troposphere, and they're going to add to air pollution and kill people. And in fact, myself and Steve Barrett at MIT are calculating how many people will be killed.
So that was David Keefe there, scientist from MIT. Yeah, he's explaining to you what happens if you do solar radiation management, geoengineering. Please make use of any stones washed up on your beaches, promenades. Just going to take a quick check on the office email. Probably always good to listen to public opinion as well.
Yeah, we'll go outside now. But if you care to step outside when you have a minute and just look up in the sky, you will actually see the cirrus clouds that have been left by aeroplanes this afternoon, which are blocking our sunlight out, causing us to not absorb as much vitamin D as we need.
We could talk about HARP, but then again, what is that to say? Former US Air Force facility, now in the hands of University of Alaska. That's what a HARP sky looks like. You can see, even though the word HARP, H-A-A-R-P, is not the same as H-A-R-P, that kind of looks like harp strings. So, acronyms. But that's another conspiracy, isn't it? The acronym conspiracy is, well, that's another old one. American presidents with the 33rd degree of Freemasonry, the HARP acronym. Yeah, conspiracies. So even the US Air Force are in on it, and the University of Fairbanks, Alaska.
Are they fact or fiction? Clouds were once removed from the sky so that Paul McCartney could perform Good Day Sunshine at a concert.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Well, you can move clouds if you really want.
What you do is, you can either fly a plane over it and drop silver oxide on it, or you can shoot a rocket into the cloud. You can basically steal other people's rain if you do that. The cloud's going over.
Is this a dream?
No, you can do it.
So you're telling me that it's possible to move the cloud?
I think it's true. Yeah, you have to have a lot of
It might sound
money.
like a stupid question, but why would he move the cloud?
Well, because
Good day sunshine,
good day sunshine. It can't be good, bold, cloudy day sunshine.
Just the song's called Good Day Sunshine. Doesn't mean you have to have the cloud moved.
Yeah, but
Did he,
if you're
when he
Paul
sang Don't
McCartney-
Let Me Down, did he gaffer tape himself to a lamppost?
It's like at my 21st, I didn't want clouds, so my dad had them removed.
What?
At my 21st, it was outside and we didn't have a marquee, so removed the clouds.
Yeah.
He wanted
Did he
really? Did he send up planes?
You mean,
Yeah,
are you
2
sure you're not
planes.
confused? Did you honestly, at your 21st birthday, get a cloud moved?
No, I got more than one. There was... Oh, my God. The whole sky just over our house in Hampshire was blue.
Yeah?
Just to match my dress.
You spoilt bitch! That's incredible!
I might just add that was a lie. Of
Oh,
course
it's a
my
lie.
dad didn't have clouds removed, and I never even had a 21st. God, you guys are so gullible.
When I saw the State of the Black Union, Dick Gregory really moved me and a lot of my friends. I show it to everybody that comes over the house, especially white folks, because they need to hear that, you know, so that they know more about all of us. Because what he said affects all of us. He said something that really hit home about this phenomena of chemtrails. And, you know, when I was a kid, I used to see these trails in the sky all the time. And say, oh, that's cool. A jet just went over. And then you started to see a whole bunch of them. And the next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood was fighting and arguing, and you didn't know why. Okay? And you really didn't know why. I mean, everybody was fighting. So he started riffing about the chemtrails. And he started to say things that hit home so hard. And I would recommend that everybody try to get what he said online or wherever and try to get a copy of it and just listen to it.
Television programme, Would I Lie to You? It was all just banter, a bit of a laugh. Prince, on the other hand, seemed to be quite serious. He definitely didn't follow it up with, oh, I'm just having a laugh, mate. Hey, no, I'm just winding you up. He gave the reason of why he wrote a specific song, and it was because of what he had heard somewhere. And he looked into it and it made sense. So Prince is part of this conspiracy as well then. Wish he was around so you could have a chat with him about it. But thus he is not. May he rest in peace. Everybody's favourite, the BBC. Excuse me. Sorry, I mean the BBC. Yep, even the BBC are involved in this conspiracy. Back in 2001, they were claiming that there was a link to killer floods via rainmaking experiments carried out by the RAF, no less. So let's read this article. Rainmaking linked to killer floods. There's a picture there with an adapted glider, and it shows 2 of the government rainmakers using the adapted glider. 35 deaths, sorry, I think 35 murders in the, no it does say deaths, hang on, 35 deaths in the infamous Lynmouth flood disaster came only days after RAF rainmaking experiments over southern England, it has emerged. 90 million tonnes of water swept down the narrow valley into Lynmouth on the 15th of August 1952, destroying whole buildings. Now, but only now, 2001. Let's just, 49 years later, now, 49 years later, now, a BBC investigation. Actually, I shouldn't have said all that just now, should I? Because maybe it took 49 years to carry out the investigation. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt that it took 49 years to investigate that. Now, a BBC investigation has confirmed that secret experiments were causing heavy rainfall. Well, that could explain why it wasn't known about for 49 years then. Secret experiments. So not, hey, it involves the public, let's tell the public experiments. Can we experiment on you public, please? No, they have to be kept secret. Secret experiments were causing heavy rainfall. So I'd like to draw YouTube's attention to that. BBC is suggesting that the weather was being modified in 1952 in secret experiments by the British Royal Air Force. That's the royal. That's the same. That's the monarchy royal. Just so we're clear. So we're now seeing then the British monarchy, the British government. Did we do JFK? Speaking about weather modification yet? I don't know. I can't remember. So we did Ronald Reagan. American presidents. Where were we? British monarchy, British government, American presidents, Prince. Not the programme Would I Lie to You, or Tara Palmer Tompkinson, much to people's miseducation. Downing Street. Yeah, Downing Street. Well, I can think of a couple more people. But there you go. And the RAF. The RAF. Secret experiments. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, can you? I'm not surprised, YouTube, you're labelling this stuff as conspiracy theory stuff because, honestly, like the BBC claiming the RAF have done secret weather modification experiments that killed 35 people. I mean, surely that's ludicrous. I mean, unless, of course, obviously there was a real investigation and those people were put in prison for murder. But I'm not seeing the link to that. I do see a link to villagers reenact the rescue mission and stuff, but not people were put in prison for murder, which is a bit like Mary Alford in Tasmania, isn't it? After Snowy Hydro did their weather modification, the Tasmanian government says, well, you went too far this time, you have to rein it in a bit. And a lady called Mary Alford, a pensioner, died because she couldn't get out of the floodwaters in time. So she just died. Sorry, I mean she was murdered. I mean, sorry, she died. No, she died. Murdered. And of course then there's the Karnataka and Kerala states in southern India. For example, last year the numbers grew up daily after floods in Kerala about the amount of people that were dead. And in the weeks before those floods, people in Karnataka were celebrating their success at modifying the weather during monsoon season. Yeah! It's the state next door. The state to the south, hey, 250 people are dead, but you know. Sorry, did I say murder or did I say dead? I can't remember now. Oh my god, I'm getting so confused. No, but I'm not confused because it's something with my throat, isn't it? Or my glasses. Right then. Classified documents. So I'm back to reading the article now, just so you know. Just what I've been saying wasn't in the article, just in case you're confused. And you're not reading along and you're just listening. That would be funny. You're like, what the fuck is this article about? Oh my god, that's so funny. This on the BBC? You what? Okay, so I stopped talking from the article. Now a BBC investigation has confirmed that secret experiments were causing heavy rainfall. I will start again. So that's where I stopped the article, and everything from that point was me and my opinion. Oh my god, no wonder I can't get these videos made. Classified documents. Those are the ones you're not allowed to see. Because really they're going about secret things like secret experiments that kill 35, death, where 35 people die. Classified documents on the trials have gone missing. No, don't worry, I'm still here. Just think it's probably better to be silent about that, isn't it? But people involved have told their story for the BBC Radio 4's document programme. So, secret experiments, documents gone missing, but coincidentally people are willing to speak to the BBC. Thank God for the inside person at the BBC, eh? Phew. Where would we be without that conspiracy, the BBC conspiracy? So, let's go on to the next paragraph, shall we? North Devon, that's in the southwest of England, just so you know, experienced 250 times the normal August rainfall in 1952. Survivors, note how they're called survivors, weather modification experiments, killed some people, so therefore, if you weren't killed that day, so murdered, killed, murdered, dead, can't remember. Oh. So the not murdered tell how the air smelled of sulphur on the afternoon of the floods, and the rain fell so hard it hurt people's faces. Well, that's probably the chemicals burning your skin or something. Oh my god. Hey, I've invented acid rain. The east and west Lynn rivers, which drop rapidly down from Exmoor, were swollen even before the fatal storm. So it's a high-risk moment. Therefore, let's modify the weather and make 250 times more rain than what would normally be experienced. Those guys at the RAF are pretty smart, I can tell you. Trees were uprooted and formed dams behind bridges, creating walls of water that carried huge boulders into the village, destroying shops, hotels and homes. Bodies washed out to the sea were never found. Dylis Singleton lost 6 members of her family, including her grandmother. Dylis, I think you might have a legal claim somewhere. Offspring of Dylis. If Dylis isn't around anymore, I think you've got a legal claim somewhere. Might want to get a solicitor. She recalls, Mum identified her by this huge wart on her back because she hadn't got no head or arms or legs when they found her. Survivors called for an investigation into the causes and rumours of planes circling prior to the deluge. The Ministry of Defence has denied knowledge of so-called cloud seeding experiments during early August 1952. Tony Speller asked to see Ministry of Defence files when he was MP for North Devon under Margaret Thatcher. He said, I could never find anything of any consequence except the fact that papers were clearly missing for the significant years, but the document team have tracked down fresh evidence, including RAF logbooks and personal testimony. Operation Cumulus was jokingly referred to by those involved as Operation Witch Doctor. The team found a broadcast from the time that refers to the experiments and the disaster. And the murder. And the disaster and the murder. I don't know if that's good journalism or not. Alan Yates, a glider pilot, tells how he flew over Bedfordshire as part of Operation Cumulus, spraying quantities of salt into the air. Scientists told him it caused a heavy downpour in Staines 50 miles, 80 kilometres away in Middlesex. He said, I was told that the rain had been the heaviest for several years and all out of a sky which looked summery. The seedsman had said he'd make it rain, and he did. Toasts were drunk to meteorology. It was not until the BBC News Bulletin was read later on that a stony silence fell on the company. The team is still hoping for evidence that would clinch their case beyond all reasonable doubt. Other flights may have taken place, possibly using silver iodide. The British Geological Survey has done preliminary searches for remaining traces, with more planned next year. They have not found silver and iodide in the same place, a document team spokeswoman said, but if they did, we would have a massive story. But they're actually looking 49, let's not forget they're looking 49 years later on that. So that's like saying, I put a quid on a stone, let's see if it's there 49 years later. Think about it, like it hasn't rained, and that's, whether that's normal rain or the rain. They hope for an answer in time for the 15th of August next year, when the people of Lynmouth will be marking the 50th anniversary of the Great Deluge. So just to clarify, it's all a conspiracy. Everything I've said in this video is all just my personal opinion. None of it's real. The sources I've used, they're all not real, and they are part of the conspiracy. There's nothing really more to say about that, is there? It's a conspiracy, clearly. Thank you, YouTube. If you'd never brought that to my attention, I never would have looked into it. And I'm really starting to peel off some layers of the onion to just how deep this conspiracy about there being a conspiracy is going. Nice one. If I see any more information, obviously I'll just stick it together and share it, because it's in the public interest, isn't it? Cheers. See you next time.